The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Jennifer Rakes. Hi, I was just giving us a moment to make sure that all our technical, everything has launched, but welcome. Uh, I'm so glad you're here. So this is the webinar, Starting and Maintaining a Peer Support Group, Part 2. And I'm Jennifer Rakes. I'm the Executive Director of the Trichotillomania Learning Center, which is, as you may know, a nonprofit organization that is working to end the suffering caused by body-focused repetitive behaviors like skin picking and hair pulling or trichotillomania. And personally, I have trichotillomania, and being a part of a support group for 10 years was a huge part of my long-term recovery and maintenance of that recovery, which I've now had for over 20 years. So I'm a big fan of support groups, and I'm really thrilled that we have Sarah Robertson here with us today from the Canadian BFRB Support Network, who has done amazing work with that organization in the past couple of years, starting lots of support groups all over Canada. And I'm delighted that she's here to speak to us all about the process of starting a support group. So the way this is going to work is you can hear me, but I can't, Sarah and I cannot hear you or see you. So the way that you can be interactive and communicate with us is on your control panel, there is a tab. If you look down, it says questions. And at any point during this presentation, Sarah's going to talk for about 45 minutes, go through some material. You can type a question in there and send it, and I will receive it. And then and if it's urgent, I will pass it on to Sarah. But if it's not urgent, then we will field questions at the end of her talk. For the last 15 to 20 minutes of the talk, we'll be able to answer questions and be interactive with you that way. So please don't hesitate. Send your questions on whenever you have them, whenever something occurs to you that you want to know more about. Type in your questions. And I thank you all in advance for the membership and support that you may be showing to TLC and to CBSN. It's your activism and your financial donations that make all the work we do possible, including events like this webinar. So thank you for making this possible. It's an honor to be here and a great delight to be with Sarah. So Sarah, I'm here to move your slides for you, so just let me know if I'm off pace, and I will hand the microphone to you.
Jen.
Great.
All right. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon or good evening, depending on what your time zone is. If you caught the first part of our series, I'm just going to go briefly over it in case somebody wasn't in attendance at that time or they haven't looked at the part 1 yet. But you could see the next slide is going to be a schedule of what we're going to be talking about tonight. Hopefully I won't take too long. I really like to get to the Q&A because I think last time we had so many questions, so that might be helpful. So hopefully I don't take 45 minutes. I mean, I can talk a lot, but hopefully not that long. So we're going to go to the first slide, which is what is peer support? So supportive relationship between people who have a lived experience in common, typical for people with, typically it's an illness of some sort. It can be done in person, it can be done virtually, it could be in a group setting, or it could just be one-on-one. And peer support groups, they offer an opportunity for you to gain new skills, meet other people who share very similar situations with yourself, and it's just great. So now that you have an idea of how to start your own peer support group based on our first webinar, let's move on to actually promoting your group. So in the last webinar I said this will make or break your group. if you're not successful at promoting your group, nobody's going to know that you exist. So we're here to help you. So CBSN and TLC, if you email us or send us a tweet, a Facebook message, it doesn't matter, just get in touch with us. We can help you. That's what we're here for. We want to get people coming out to your peer support meetings. So we have the power with all of our followers and our contacts and our email lists that we can promote your group out to the BFRB community. So anything on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, we can share it. So just don't hesitate to reach out and use us. You can also use local mental health agencies to promote your new group. So if you actually attend, if you see a psychiatrist or a psychotherapist or a social worker for your own personal needs, it doesn't have to be for your BFRB. Talk to them about if they can help you promote your group within their office or their setting, whether it be in a hospital or a larger agency. See what their thoughts are. You can contact either myself or Jen or Leslie, and you can ask about local agencies in your area that we might be able to connect you to. So don't be afraid to ask questions and reach out. Take initiative, because people will not come to you. You have to go to the people first. And so promoting your group is very simple on social media. You have to use social media. So you can make a Facebook page or a group, which several BFRB support groups have already done. You can also do a Twitter account, but the most important thing you need to do is get a BFRB email set up for the group. So for the Toronto group, we use like BFRBtoronto@gmail.com, and that's mainly what most of our support groups across Canada have done, is just picking the name of their town or city and putting BFRB behind it, and just use a public email account. So make sure you set that up first and foremost, especially if you're going to be doing any social media account. Use that email and make sure that you are checking it. So I always suggest to connect it to your phone, because you don't want people looking for help and then you're never answering it. That wouldn't be very helpful. So moving on, other ways that you can promote your group is printing flyers, even business cards. I know Vistaprint prints 500 business cards for, I think, $6.99 to $10.99. I can't remember the exact price, but it's in the States as well. So, I mean, you could get 500 little business cards for $10. And what I tend to do with them is I pin them everywhere I go. So I always carry a few with me. You never know who you're going to run into. These are great resources to hand out, even to your psychiatrists, schools, etc., etc. So you don't have to write hair pulling, skin picking all over it. You can put something as simple as contact me, and then just put your email address if you want it to be kind of anonymous. CBSN has one that it just says you are not alone, and it has our website at the bottom. That's it. So sometimes, you know, you might see someone, this is always a different, it's a strange situation for people. If they think someone has trick or derm, they're not sure if they want to go up to them, they're not sure to say something. So I mean, a business card is something that you can give to them if you're that comfortable, but typically it's to give to communities, community agencies, or like I said, I pin them to bulletin boards wherever I go. And you should also check if your local paper has a free advertising section. Most do, so hopefully just contact them, email them, call them, whatever you need to do, and ask if you can put in a free ad about starting this local peer support group. Like I said, bulletin boards are amazing. You can find them in schools, usually around the counseling sections or near the main office, even at work. Most people have like a mental health or a health board, I guess, nowadays. So see if you can post on there. You don't have to do it when everybody's in the lunchroom or hanging around in the hall. You can do it in the first thing in the morning. You can do it when nobody's looking. So you don't have to make it such a big deal. You just have to get the courage to go and pin it up there. Universities and colleges, this is really seriously a great place where you can get connected to a ton of people who have a BFRB. If you have a disability services in your school or campus, they would be the go-to where you can ask them for help to set up either your group. I know some universities in Canada, they've given our support group space, and they've also helped promote it through their Facebook and student, unions and on the student newsletters and flyers. So use everyone you can. If someone has the power to help you spread the word about your group, use them. And moving on, so if you need to connect with local agencies, you might not know where to start. So like I said earlier, if you see someone right now, you can start there. Just ask them about if they would be willing to help you, or do they know of an agency, or do they know another person who has a BFRB, because they could pass on some information about starting a support group with another client or whoever. It will be confidential at the beginning, of course. So also, like I said, you're going to want to look out at, just go online and type in mental health services in your area, your town, your city, whatever, and you'll see a whole bunch popping up. So typically it's anxiety-related disorders we're going to be looking for in the type of organization. So send them an email, let them know that this is what I'm doing. I want to set up a peer support group for these disorders, for these conditions. Please contact me here if you have anybody you think would be interested in attending. Please pass on this information. You could design a virtual, like I said, a poster, and you could just attach that to the email, ask them to print it out, put it up in their agency, and you can also see if they'd be willing to help you. In Canada, like, we have Canadian Mental Health Association, and they have chapters. So what they do is there's a Toronto chapter, there's a Montreal chapter, and I know some of our support group members have actually gone to them to assist with running the support group. So see if that's possible in your area. And you can also try, if you're a parent or you're in high school more likely, or university, try connecting with your school to see if they have a partnership with any agencies. If there's anybody in the school that they know of that has a BFRB, perhaps they could pass along this information anonymously, and just try. And even if you have personal connections or family and friends, do they have a way that can they get the word out there for you? Do you know somebody who has a huge Facebook following or a Twitter following? It doesn't have to be a company or anything, but if they have the power to reach a lot of people, why not connect with them and ask them if they'd be willing to help you spread the word about your group? If you never ask, you don't know what will happen. So you always don't assume that people are not going to help you out. Just go out and try your best and see what will come from it, because you just got to keep going and going and going, and trust me, you will be successful with receiving feedback and starting the group with lots of people. So moving on, within our support groups, what we tend to do is involve guest speakers. This is a good way of keeping people, I guess, interested in coming back for various reasons. Not everybody attends the support groups on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. Sometimes they just want to come out when it's a special person coming to give a speech or answering questions. So in our Toronto group, we've had Dr. Mark Senior come out to do a Q&A meeting with us, and that had the most turnout that we've ever seen. So getting any type of treatment provider or mental health professional in your area to come in and do a speech about, it doesn't have to be speech, it could be really informal, it could be just sitting around the table, people asking questions, but a concern most people would have is, well, I don't have a treatment provider for BFRBs around me. So what you can do is you can ask, like I said, Jen or myself to look around. You can check the TLC or CBSN website and you'll see if there is somebody around you. Reach out to them and ask if they'd be willing to come in and sit down with your group and discuss things. Other times we just use members in our group. So another option is sharing picking someone, I guess, who's recovered or they've reduced their pulling or picking, and kind of being an inspiration or just sharing how they did it. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for everyone. Like we've said before, everybody's story is individual. So you can ask them to share their story if they're comfortable doing so. Or another thing we like to do is maybe for the first half an hour of the group, ask one person each time, or who, like, they have to plan ahead of time. So make sure you have someone each designated week you're going to do this. Have them share their personal story from the very beginning. Oftentimes our groups are so community, you know, everyone's talking about their own personal story, but we never really get the background and the history of that one person. So it would be nice, I guess, to get to know people on a more personal basis and really understand where they've come from, where they've been, and what has led them to where they are now. And also you can ask people to attend virtually. If you want any of us to attend a support meeting virtually, like on Skype, you can ask TLC, you can ask us, you can ask anyone within the community. I know there's a few advocates like Angela Hartland. She'd be more than willing to virtually attend your peer support group. And I know, you know, what we do is we just ask. Like I said, you won't know unless you ask. So moving on, this is the most important part about a peer support group. What are you going to do when you get everybody in a room, and what are you going to say to them? So in my experience, what don't you talk about? That's the main thing. There is so much to talk about, especially when you're meeting people with a BFRB for the first time. So what we like to do is, you know, this is just what I've learned from hosting our support meetings. This is kind of the way I like to start things off. Pick an icebreaker. Google icebreakers for meetings, and tons of ideas will come up. You pick one that you're comfortable with. My personal icebreaker that I do every meeting is the round table highs and lows. So what that means is once everybody's seated and, you know, we're ready to get the meeting started, I introduce myself, I introduce a little bit about why we're here, what the group's for, and then I go into telling people to share their high and low and their name and what their BFRB is. So a high is something positive happening in their life. It doesn't have to be trick or BFRB or germ related. It could be anything like, oh, I'm getting married, so that's my high. A low is something that is maybe stressing them out in their life. It's a current event it's just kind of adding to their stress. So it doesn't have to be associated with BFRBs, but just keep in mind, depending on how many people are in the meeting, keep it short and keep it brief. Sometimes if there's, you know, 4 or 5 people, you can go off into your highs and lows a little bit more in depth, but we tend to keep them about 1 to 2 minutes. Moving on. So these are more specific topics that we have come up with for what to talk about during your actual meeting. Jen, can you switch to the topic slide if you don't mind? We'll see it in a second. So anyways, what you'll find is that people tend to ask questions. As soon as somebody brings up something about their BFRB, somebody always says, oh, I do that too. Oh, I didn't know you could do this. I didn't know you could do that. Oh, I haven't tried that yet. So trust me, the conversation will never be dull. There's always something someone wants to ask. They might be too afraid to ask at the beginning, but trust me, it'll come up. So on the screen you can see these are really specific topics that we've come up with for various meetings. So how does having a BFRB affect your self-esteem? How does it affect your relationships? How does it affect school? How does it affect your career? This can take all day, in my opinion. We've had the same discussion about these specific, I guess, parts of our lives, and we just analyze how the BFRB affects each relationship and our jobs, and, you know, we get into detail. And every time we do these discussions, you'll always learn something differently, and you always take away something. So somebody might have tips for how to handle school being in class, you want to pull your hair, you want to pick at your skin, sitting at your desk, or you're at the computer trying to study. So people will always give you tools and tips. So this is a great one to go over. You can reuse these topics as many times as you like. And like I said, this one is the main one we tend to do in our group in Toronto. The next topic is, what products do you recommend for your hair or your skin? This is one that I personally could talk about all day. I love makeup, I love hair products. So we like to go and try different products and then come back and discuss what we liked or what we didn't like about them. For example, a huge one is Topic, the hair fibers that cover bald spots. That's the group favorite in Toronto. We also like Lush bath products for skin pickers, the bath bombs. We always talk about new products that are coming out that hide scars or, cover up something. So there's always something new out there. And the next one is, so this is, I think, everybody's question when they want to attend a support group. How do I stop picking or pulling? There's no real concrete answer, but people have stopped. People have reduced the skin picking or the hair pulling or the nail biting. So what we tend to do is we ask people what have they tried for tricks or tips, if they have any, to give the group if they want to try and reduce picking or pulling. So typically we talk about, journaling, keeping track of how many hairs or times you've gone to the mirror today to pull or pick. Other things that we do for tips is like reducing the bathroom light if you can, or just lighting a candle in the bathroom so you don't have full light exposure, so you don't have enough time to look at your skin. Setting a timer, these are all different tips and tricks. So this one comes up, this discussion happens quite frequently, and somebody always has something different to bring, so it's a great one. Another one is how to deal with stress. So as we know, BFRBs and anxiety go hand in hand, and there is so much going on that you just need a way to deal with the stress and how to reduce that, because reducing your stress will help reduce, your skin picking or your hair pulling. I don't know if you've noticed that, but when I'm less stressed out, I tend not to even think about hair pulling or skin picking. But the minute I am stressed out, that's my go-to. So another big one is, have you talked to your friends or family about the disorder? Have you come out of the BFRB closet, so to speak? Have you told them? What was the reaction? Have you told a friend? Were they supportive or were they not understanding? This is a really big one. A lot of the times we get into, people's personalities and what the different ways, how families can be supportive and not supportive, and how you can deal with that as well. And lastly, have you tried a specific therapy for your BFRB? So in the Toronto group, we have a lot of people attending Sunnybrook's. They have a skin picking and hair pulling group that it's basically cognitive behavioral therapy, but they also provide a second group, which is mindfulness. So we tend to talk about those a lot and what's been working for people versus what hasn't, and what they found most effective. So even, hypnotherapy, we've had a few people talk to us about that. We've had a few people talk about habit reversal training. There's so many different things that you can try. So it's always great to get, a firsthand look at what other people have thought about this. How has it helped them, or did it not help, or was it a waste of time? So never be afraid that you're going to run out of topics, because you won't. Trust me, there's always going to be a question that comes up. There's always going to be someone that brings something new to the discussion that keeps the conversation going, and before you know it, the meeting is probably going to be done. Half the time I have to kick people out by the end of the night, funny enough. So as a group leader, when you're leading a group, just be mindful of timing and keep a timer on your phone or whatever. Just keep track of that, because sometimes we can't go and we can talk forever. So next up, if you're not comfortable talking, what we do is we tend to show YouTube videos or documentaries or videos. So like Angela sent us the Scars of Shame video, and we watched that documentary. We made a night out of it. We had popcorn, we had drinks, we had cake. It was great. Other times we show different, even small clips on the TLC website. There's tons of videos that we've shown. Just YouTube anything with BFRB, skin picking, hair pulling, and so many things will come up. So that is something that can keep, you know, your group, if you feel like you're too nervous to talk, maybe start off your support group by showing a documentary or a YouTube video. And finally, we usually end a support group with talking about what's going on in the community, what's new. Have you seen this with CBSN? Have you seen this with TLC? With TLC, sorry. What campaigns are happening online? Have you participated in this and that? So usually that's when we also brainstorm if there's something we want to do as a support group, if we want to do something to help either CBSN or TLC, what can we do? Is there a way that we can help spread the message further? These are all things that we talk about, so trust me, you will never run out of things to talk about. So moving on, unless someone like you cares a whole lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. Dr. Zeus is the wisest person. And so this basically means if you're not going to do anything about it, you will never get change. So if you are looking for support for your BFRB, why not start something? That's exactly what I was so frustrated. There was nothing around me. So I went and I started a group, and it was the best choice that I could have ever done for myself. It starts with one person. So, you know, from one person, now look how big CBSN has gotten. It's just blown up. So, I mean, it might be stressful for you, but don't fear. There's people here for you, online, virtual. You can always reach out to us. We're here for you whenever you need. And like I said, it starts with you. So moving on. So this is another part that I wanted to discuss about peer support groups. The first one is going to be talking about how to advocate by yourself, but the second part is going to be advocating as a group. So peer support, most of the time we want to break the stigma surrounding BFRBs. We're tired of living in fear, shame, isolation, embarrassment. We just want the world to know that, you know, this is a real thing and I'm not the only one. So most of the times we have people who say, you know, I really would like to help, but I just can't. I'm too embarrassed. I haven't told my friends, my family. Well, that is totally okay because technology is amazing. We can take advantage of it and use the fact that you can be completely anonymous online. So Twitter, Instagram, running a blog or Tumblr, these are all specific types of social media platforms that you can use and be completely anonymous. So I know a lot of people that have their own Twitter account, but then they have a BFRB specific account where they tweet out information, they share information from CBSN or TLC, or they discuss anything, you know, in the BFRB community. So they are helping. They might not be saying their name or putting their face out there, but you know, everything helps. So moving on. So sitting in the own comfort of your home, you can make such a big difference. And you know, it's amazing. You're literally sitting at your computer and you have the world at your fingertips. You can connect with people from halfway across the world who share the same concerns or the same type of life that you live, you know, your frustrations, your experiences with BFRB, your experiences with doctors. There's so many people that you can connect to. It doesn't have to be in your hometown. So moving on. So advocating publicly, or if you want to do this as a group, which, you know, when you have more than one voice, it tends to create a larger impact, but never underestimate one person doing anything. Like I said, it has to start with one person. So how can you advocate publicly? If you're open about your BFRB, what I like to suggest is sharing information online with any of your social networking platforms. So Facebook is a great one. You don't have to write anything. Just share what TLC or CBSN post. Just share it. And you'll be surprised that somebody in your personal friends list or somebody following you, they will click that link and they will have an aha moment. I've had so many people who I had no idea. I've been friends with them since grade 1, and they go, oh my God, I didn't know that was an actual thing. I totally pick at my skin. And it's just like, what? I've been talking about this for 3 years publicly, and now you're just saying this? So you never know what's going to make someone click a link or pay attention to something you've written. So just a simple retweet or share, it makes a huge difference. So we at TLC and CBSN, we run a ton of events. They're always happening. TLC tends to have more than CBSN because they are a charitable organization. They can also give tax receipts, which is something that we are looking forward to doing as well, CBSN, but that's something that you could take advantage of. You get a tax receipt for donating. That's awesome. You can host an educational event or workshop or just a quick lunch seminar if you want for parents, your colleagues, whoever you want. I know typically at some workplaces or businesses they have something that's called a lunch and learn. If you're open about your disorder or you want to educate other people, this would be a great opportunity to do so. You can even ask about putting up a poster, and trust me, people will talk to you about it. And this is how I got involved. I asked TLC if I could volunteer for them. The next one, is volunteering at a local mental health event. Can you get your own table with, pamphlets or whatnot? So this is how CBSN started for me. I volunteered on behalf of TLC, sharing their brochures and all the information, and I had my own table at an event, and from there things just snowballed. So always look for opportunities where you can showcase TLC or CBSN or your own group. So there's always something happening, networking fairs, town hall, gatherings. There's so many places where you can reach so many people. So just a reminder that BFRB week is coming up, and that's October 1st to the 7th. So you can get involved with both TLC and CBSN, and you can advocate from the comfort of your own home. You can connect with, this is a great week to connect with other people, put the message out that you are going to be starting a support group in your area. This is a great week because people will be paying attention. There's going to be a lot of spotlight on BFRBs, and you'll have more people clicking links and showcasing BFRB stories. So this would be a great time to, start promoting your group if you're ready, and we can help you with that. Also, another piece that I don't think I did mention in the PowerPoint, but something that really got the attention of people in Toronto, to come out to the support meetings, was I actually contacted a local news station, and I did a story with them on hair pulling and skin picking. They did my personal story. They wanted to know about how it affected my life. But I had so many emails after that, and that really helped bring a lot of people into the support group. You can reach out to your local newspaper and share your story. You can reach out to radio stations. So just try different things and see what will work for you. Twitter is usually a great way to connect with any of these types of media outlets. They love Twitter for some reason. So just see if you can get, even